Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us for another Flycast Partners webinar. My name is Rich Longo, and I will be your host. Today's presentation is on digital transformation, presented by our own Bobby McCullough. And Bobby has been in the IT industry for well over 20-plus years and has been with Flycast Partners to help us expand our reach into digital transformation. He's been involved in implementation of multiple tools for a major multinational financial organization, software engineer for the United States Postal Service, ITIL V3 and Scrum certified with experience in ITSM, ITFM, ITAM, and digital transformation. Before we get started today, Bobby, let me introduce a little bit about our organization. Flycast Partners, of course, is here to deliver a seriously amazing IT experience founded and staffed by personnel that have many years of experience in the IT space. We took the best ideas of all the collective experience and added the best components necessary to grow and become one of the leading value-added resellers in the North American IT market. We offer best-in-class implementation services and training in ITSM, ITAM, workload automation, capacity optimization with cost control, business intelligence, and enterprise service management, all using nothing but ITIL best practice. Our professional services team can easily scale up or down to meet the IT needs of any organization, regardless of your size, complexity, or budgetary restrictions. We offer implementation services both on-site and remote, as well as training to help reinforce your company's long-term IT success. Our ongoing remote administration support service offerings will enable you to focus on those normal day-to-day operations. And I encourage you to call us at 844-FLYCAST. That's 844-359-2278. Once again, that's 844-359-2278, 844-FLYCAST. Or you can simply visit our website. Please take a look at some of the different types of technologies that we offer. Go in there and check out some of the various training that we offer. Absolutely take a look at the upcoming webinar series that we have. Share them with other folks within your office. And you'll see that we start our ITIL ITSM overview next week, and then it carries into service lifecycle with a 6-part series on the 3rd of August. Definitely a series you will not want to miss. With that being said, I want to encourage those of you with questions today to please type your questions in the Q&A section of this WebEx, and Bobby will try to go ahead and answer those before our allocated time is over with, before the 45 minutes is done. So please put your questions in the Q&A section of the WebEx, and Bobby will answer as many questions as he possibly can before our time has left us. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our presenter today, Bobby McCullough. Now, Bobby, it looks like we've got a great view of your slide deck there.
Thank you very much, Rich. Welcome, everybody. Today, we're going to talk about managing digital transformation. There's lots of perspectives on digital transformation, so we're going to be looking at our specific one around planning and response. So the Greek philosopher Heraclitus is the first to write about the concept of change being constant. Now, me being from the South, I have to be careful saying that name because I'd like to probably give it 12 syllables. But his thoughts are true today. Just think about your own lives. Think about how the delivery of music has changed over time. Before you could own music, it was heard live or transmitted through radio waves. But with the Victrola, you could actually purchase and have music that you could hold in the form of a platter or a disc. And it was a wonderful invention because you could listen to whatever you wanted as long as you owned it. But there was a drawback. You had to be where the Victrola was. And here in America, that eventually became a problem because there was no way to listen to your tunes while you're riding around in your Model T. Eventually came the 8-track, and this was your music was now truly mobile for the first time. You even could toss a cartridge across a 4-lane to the buddy next to you. Now, how miraculous was that? Listening to what you wanted while you drive. And that was fine for a while, but eventually someone wondered, well, what about when I'm not in my car? And the Walkman came, and that allowed you to take your music wherever you wanted. Waterproof models were even available, so that you could swim with your own music. And since Walkman used recordable cassettes, you could make mixtapes, so that you had your very own radio station of personally curated selections. This was amazing and truly disruptive until the CD was born. And it took up less space. You didn't have to use a pencil to rewind one tape while you listened to another. The music was crystal clear. The discs seemed nearly indestructible. Did I say they took up less space and didn't need rewinding? CDs were so disruptive that even today, most vehicles you buy still have options for them, even though they've been replaced. Music streaming is the latest disruption in the industry. Music executives have been shuddering awake at night for the past 10 to 20 years or so as this disruption occurred. And what's next? We really don't know. It's really hard to say. There's one thing that we can be sure of, and it's that Heraclitus was right, that there's going to be change. And this is true within your organizations. According to Enterprise Strategy Group, 97% of enterprises are undergoing some form of digital transformation. Forrester research tells us that the clear reason why this transformation is so ubiquitous is because 89% of executives expect some type of disruption related to competitive digital transformation. Now, there could be a little bit of fear of missing out here, you know, worried that the other guys are going to get some new technology first. But these are real concerns out there. And so why digital transformation? Well, let's start with your customers. Forrester says the global smartphone subscribers will reach 5.9 billion by 2021. Between 2013 and 2015 alone, the world went from 33% owning a smartphone to half in just 2 years. Your customers are undergoing digital transformation whether you are or not, and whether you're seeing it or not. You can just ask Toys R Us about that. Remember that customers mean both internal as well as external customers in the classic sense. Now, Forrester also believes we are entering a hyper-adoption, hyper-abandonment era where users can rush to and rush away from technology and digital experiences at rates we've never seen before. And why are they going to do this? Well, they're going to do it because they can. Now, if your customers are changing how they're interacting, so are your channels. Forrester has predicted that 52% of all U.S. retail sales for this year, 2018, are going to be web-affected retail. That means, you know, somehow the web is involved in the purchase, even if the purchase isn't truly online. 14% of those purchases, of all purchases, are going to be online. Right now, more than half of American B2B buyers prefer to research business purchases online rather than engage salespeople. I mean, that's one of the reasons you're here today, isn't it, listening to me? With the speed of digital adoption for shopping, banking, travel, and digital services, digital is no longer an incremental revenue stream. And finally, your competitors. You really can't afford to wait and see anymore. The speed at which change occurs today is what's led to this latest businessy term of disruption. Sears and Roebuck, with their catalog, were transformative, but Amazon was disruptive. The speed at which the change occurs is what leads us to use this term. Only 3 of the top 10 firms on the NASDAQ in 1999 were still in the top 10 in 2017. So you really have 2 choices. You can either become a disruptor or you can be disrupted. Now, what does the internal digital enterprise look like? It's likely a combination of all these items that you see here: on-premise, data center, both public and private clouds, and all this really is depending on your industry and the history of your organization. Now, maybe your focus today is on-premise only, or maybe it's all cloud. And maybe you say you're one of the organizations that you're really not undergoing transformation in this area. I'm going to argue that you are. Even if your current infrastructure strategy is static, those systems with which your organization interacts are not. They're changing. So the world is changing whether you are or not. But even if you might not be undergoing a CIO-mandated 45% move to the cloud, transformation is affecting you and your organization. Not to mention, what will the environment look like tomorrow? What's the next technology to reshape how we do something in the next 10 years? Transformation is here whether we embrace it or are embattled by it. So what are the pitfalls of digital transformation? What are the common mistakes that organizations make that inhibit their ability to truly engage in disruptive digital transformation? So in my mind, there are three. The first one is visibility. Visibility begets strategy. You cannot expect what you cannot inspect. Choose your analogy. They all say the same thing, and with reference to this topic, they all mean you cannot manage a disruptive digital transformation without visibility into your environment. Now, maybe Bill has a system to show us infrastructure. Sue can tell us about apps. Carlos can tell us about storage and so on. But how do we bring all this information together? Having siloed solutions that, quote unquote, cover the enterprise isn't true visibility. It's a start, but not what's needed for disruptive digital transformation. Outdated operating models are the scourge of implementations. People want to do what they've done, and usually for good reason. If it isn't broke, why should you fix it? Well, I keep referring to it because it's current, but ask Toys R Us that question. Lacking adequate visibility, your operating models are built around this inherent missing element of your strategy. They're built to navigate what is likely a disjointed, disconnected, and convoluted process. This method cannot lead to or allow true optimization. And optimization really is the goal, isn't it? Innovation isn't the goal. It's not to have, just to have the latest and the greatest. Transformation is so you can do something better. You can't be disruptive if you aren't doing multiple things better. Your organization may seem content with having some elements of the latest tech. Maybe it allows you to attend trade shows and display how cutting edge you've become. But in my mind, it's a lot like my mom's first attempt at homemade biscuits. They looked good, but you could break a plate if you dropped them from high enough. The goal isn't just to look good, it's to truly optimize. So how do you avoid these pitfalls? The solution is what I call environment behavior analysis for planning and response. Now, what the heck is that and how? And think of environment behavior analysis as the tools and processes needed to perform proper planning and response for your environment that's going to enable disruptive digital transformation. Environment behavior analysis is understanding how your organization's environment behaves under normal conditions so that you can accomplish two goals, planning and response, and disruptive digital transformation requires both. A holistic enterprise-wide visibility is the start, understanding every perspective, infrastructure, storage, the web application, the back end, the end user experience, all from a single pane of glass is needed to understand your critical business services in a way that drives disruption. Having this visibility is the foundation of any IT strategy and are required if you're going to be the disruptor. Your processes have to be modernized. Having a tool that makes your job easier and is less time-consuming allows you to look at your business in a new way. Repetitive tasks can be eliminated, likely eliminated, through some kind of automation and drive initial value from this disruptive initiative. And finally, optimize. Don't stop at having a shiny new ball. Kick it in the goal and get it dirty. Utilize this visibility into your enterprise to drive and modernize your processes so that you can optimize your environment. You can utilize tools that extend your control over your environment in a streamlined and automated fashion. Allow your decisions to be guided by the information you're gleaning and the recommendations these tools are providing you. You can utilize outputs from these tools to provide executives with the information they need to help make proper choices. Now, these are all nice platitudes, Bobby, but how is this done? It's done through using BMC's TrueSight solution and Flycast partners. TrueSight is the industry-leading tool to gain visibility across your entire organization, and it's your source for a holistic environment optimization. It's a comprehensive IT environment planning and response suite that covers everything, or only those critical pieces you need to drive digital transformation. And Flycast partners, through a combination of industry veterans and strategic partnerships, has the experience and desire to help guide you through or perform your implementation and integration of your chosen solution. Assist in modernizing your processes along established best practices developed over our years in multiple aspects of the IT industry. This partnership between BMC Flycast is how we ensure that you truly optimize your environment and achieve disruptive digital transformation. So before I continue, Rich, I want to ask if we had any questions at this point before I jump in a little deeper into TrueSight.
Not as of yet. We do not have any questions, but folks, I want to remind you to please take the time to type those in that Q&A section here in the WebEx, and Bobby will answer them for you.
Yep. Thank you, Rich. So we're going to dive in a little deeper into TrueSight itself. Everything in TrueSight, really, you can think of it as falling into two categories, either planning and response. Planning is sort of capacity management, really, is what falls over into the planning area. It allows your organization to right-size your environment, regardless of the nature or the source of that environment. And we've spent the last two TrueSight sessions covering capacity. Organizations, if you were in those sessions, you learned that organizational infrastructures are typically over-provisioned by 80%, according to Gartner. And, you know, you're going to, if this is the first time you've heard that, your first word's going to be, oh, well, that's not me. Okay, so you're half that. You're at only 40% over-provisioned. Or let's say it's half that, 20. What would a 10% savings on your current infrastructure costs mean to your CIO or your CEO? What would it mean to your shareholders, and what would it mean on your annual review? Now, TrueSight can monitor the capacity of all aspects of your environment and even provides sort of outside-the-box type capabilities around things that you might want to monitor for capacity that aren't typical IT infrastructure or business service elements. Monitoring capacity only allows you to respond to issues when they occur, even in an automated fashion, but that's still reactive. The biggest reason for capacity management is to forecast and plan your environment. So whether it involves migrations to or from the cloud, infrastructure optimizations, or planning for like a big sales kickoff, TrueSight has the ability to provide insight necessary to perform proper planning and forecasting. It also provides the foundational framework for translating business requirements in terms that everyone understands into specific actionable information regarding your environment. Now, response is what we're going to focus mostly on today, the event management side. Event management allows your organization to respond to issues that arise regardless of the nature or the source of those issues in your environment. What sets TrueSight apart is the system uses algorithms to understand what normal is in your environment, and that's key. Understanding what's normal on an hourly basis, a daily basis, a weekly basis, a monthly basis. Understanding normal in your environment, thereby generating fewer false positives. TrueSight can provide complete control for your environment, and then allows you to determine what it brings to your attention and how that's going to occur. TrueSight can enrich that information, provided with out-of-the-box integrations. We're going to talk about that. I'll show some examples of that here in a bit. But we've got out-of-the-box integrations with the big systems that you'd expect. There's some third-party integrations that are available for maybe something lesser demand systems. And then for anything that's not covered, there's an open API that's available. Now, planning and response, are both critical elements for any disruptive digital transformation. Organizations need to reliably plan, respond during the deployment phase to drive the greatest value and ensure you're the disruptor instead of being disruptive. So let's jump into a couple of these items here. We'll start at the bottom across the where is your infrastructure? Is it housed on premise, maybe in our own data center or a data center belonging to our organization, or is it out in the cloud? TrueSight doesn't care. We can monitor for both capacity and events, all of those areas. It doesn't care. It's very agnostic, and that's really extends across all areas of the application. So we're not going to care where we're monitoring from or what we're monitoring from that location. So then what can we monitor? Well, that's everything. We can monitor your mainframe if you still got it, your other hardware, storage systems, your network infrastructure, machine logs, databases, applications, everything that you need. TrueSight can monitor it. Now, we also know that TrueSight can't be all things to everybody. So really, TrueSight is sort of a manager of monitors. There could be certain areas here in the monitoring domain where you might have a tool that does things perfect for your organization, and that's fine. TrueSight can integrate with those third-party monitors. If it's one of the bigger ones, there's likely an integration already created and available for it. If not, we do have the open API and other methods where we can integrate those third-party monitors so that TrueSight can be that manager of monitors, that single pane of glass for your organization, so that you can see all these different aspects of what's going on. I'm going to show you how important that is here in just a minute when we pull the application up. So regardless of where that data comes from, that monitoring data for capacity or for event comes from, whether it's TrueSight or whether it's third-party monitor, we're able to bring it in and process that. Now, before I go over the processing of it, let's talk a little bit about the information that's available. So TrueSight by itself has the ability to go out and do a bit of discovery in your organization, but it's not a discovery tool. Really, it's more of a mapping tool. So it can go out and map some of what it's managing, but really where it really begins to shine and pay off is when you've got a CMDB and a discovery solution that we can integrate it with. Now, out-of-the-box integrations with Remedy and Atrium and ADDM with BMC, those are all available. So you can get those immediate integrations and with your discovery and CMDB systems. And what that does is that brings the full service model with all the CIs and all the data elements that you need into TrueSight so that you've got the information at your fingertips when you're trying to manage or plan. You're trying to respond or plan. So it's right here available at you at your fingertips. So when you've got that information in the system, you're monitoring all those different areas or integrated with a third-party system, enriching it with your CMDB. What can we do? Well, first, that we've talked about capacity optimization the last couple of sessions. You've also got event management. Those events that occur in your environment that needs your attention. Now, one of the things we always run into with organizations is, yeah, we've got event management, but we've almost got too much of it. It's just so much noise that we spend more time trying to sift through the noise than we do actually responding. Or, and sadly, I hear this one entirely too often, we just kind of ignore that because it's so much noise coming in, we just can't handle it. And these are real problems. TrueSight helps through its event management module, where it applies machine learning. There are algorithms to the system to help understand what normal's like. Now, I'm going to show you how that's configured in the system, and you've got lots of options on how that happens. You can maybe you don't want it to use out an algorithm to determine what's normal. Maybe you want to tell it if it's above X, I need an alert, and the system's configurable enough to do that. So along with event management, we've also got service and app impact. So this is where we really can look at sort of that holistic view of a service or an app, and how is that impacting your business? Where is the issue, which really gets us to root cause, quickly being able to find out and troubleshoot the issue and see what's going on. Now, having a tool that allows us to get to these types of solutions quick, eliminating the noise through this machine learning, there's another step that we need to take, and that's the service desk step. So TrueSight also can integrate that part of the loop here, standard integrations with all the BMC product, lots of integrations with other big products, service desk or ITSM products out there. So that's available, so that when an event occurs, something that warrants your attention or warrants activity or needs logging, those are the ones that are actually pushed over to the service desk and logged. Now, finally here, before I jump into the demo real quick, automation. This is where we actually can perform some remediation from the event activities that occur. So these can be from sort of manual monitored events, where if I see this, Sue over in applications know that she can kick off this particular automation task, and it'll rectify what's going on. Other actions can be completely automated, so that when the event occurs, the system recognizes it and logs it. It immediately kicks off a remediation event over in the automation. Again, standard integrations for, really it's a module, another BMC module that's available for automation, Blade Logic and a couple of others. But using the API available in TrueSight, really that can, if you have other automation tools, it can be done there as well. So we've got about 15 more minutes. I want to jump over into the tool real quick. So this is TrueSight itself. Again, planning and response. This is sort of the response side. Planning was the capacity side that we saw. And this is where you can have custom defined dashboards. The system allows you to publish these to other users, so that when you define a dashboard that's helpful for managing some aspect of your environment, you can share that with other users of your system. One of the things that you'll notice is color coding, so it's going to tell you what needs your attention right away. So I can see here in my stock trader dashboard, my stock trader application needs my attention right away. I'm going to scroll down just a little bit. This is going to be a key graph for us. This is showing something critical has occurred. I'm going to ignore it for now, but if any of you are watching the screen closely, you might notice that, hey, why isn't he saying something? I know something about this. I'm going to talk about it in a bit. So let's dive in and look at the stock trader application. So we talked about having a holistic view of your enterprise. This is the beginning of that holistic view. This is where we have defined for our organization a model of a particular application. Now, I said earlier that TrueSight could do a bit of discovery. Really what it does is application mapping. So this application touches that server, that application, and that service. It's really not full discovery. That's something that's available through BMC's discovery tool. And this is extremely helpful with, again, planning and response. You got to know what you've got, where it's located, how's it connected. And that's what discovery tells you. You can get these complete business models automatically discovered through the tool. You actually can put limits on the system so that there's only segments of your environment that you want to discover to begin with. There's lots of options here for how this discovery occurs, and then pushes this information over into your CMDB to make this all available here from TrueSight. Now, application view, we've got all the different perspectives that we might need to look at our stock trader application. You've got the database, you've got the back-end business tier, you've got the front-end web tier, what's going on with the network, what's going on with my end user. So we've got the ability through SQL injection to watch what's going on at an end user's browser. So we know what's going on in our web server, but we can also know what's going on that specific end user as well. We've also got the ability to do synthetic transactions as well. So this is where you can record and replay to determine capacity or issues within the environment. You can also create your own transactions as well and play those back. So sales has a big push for the fall. We believe we're going to have X number of increase. You're able to run those in and test your system through that synthetic tier using Borland. Now, again, lots of color coding here. Drill down into some critical events that look like they need my attention. So I can go here and see transaction latency is something that needs my attention. So I'm going to go and one of my options is to launch a probable cause analysis. So what's causing this latency? Now, this is really a neat feature of the tool. When we're bringing in all those different aspects of the service, when we've brought in that complete service model so we know all those relationships throughout that application, the system has the ability to go out and do a probable cause analysis using a time frame and a particular focus to give us an idea of what's likely related to those systems. You've got the ability to expand the time frame, to expand the focus, and reanalyze. So you've got options here, but really this is to allow you to get to the root cause quickly. And if I go to my event details for this particular where'd it go? For this particular service, let me go back. I think I've grabbed something wrong here. We can go in and see where, see that graph. Well, I'm sorry, guys. I lost it. There was something here that didn't pop up that was supposed to have popped up. I'm not going to bog you down with it. What's key here is being able to quickly find those issues and quickly be able to research and find out. Here we're seeing a huge jump in IIS requests, and it's remained consistent over time. So you know you've got issues that need your attention, and TrueSight allows you to dive right into those and find out, see immediately what needs your attention, find out what the root cause is, and then remediate those if needed. And here's our remediation. These are where we can automatically remediate. And some of this is manual intervention. Some of this could happen automatically from it as well. We've only got a few more minutes left, so I want to show you this as well. Lots of perspectives on your environment, but notice here on one of our issues, we've got an ITSM link. And if we actually go over to our ITSM system, we can see this is where it's going to populate those tickets, those issues that pop up in TrueSight that warrant attention or logging. It can push those over here into the remedy system or your ITSM tool, push those over into the system for proper handling. So really that plus your end user's ability to see their information. So as an administrator, I can see the entire organization, but different business units may have their own pieces that they want to see and manage as well. We can provide those views into the system as well. Rich, I've been talking a lot. We've got about 7 more minutes. I want to check and see if there's any questions.
We, as of right now, do not have any questions, and folks, this is a rare opportunity to get to ask questions about this particular tool of Bobby, so please take the time to type in any questions that you have in the Q&A section or even the chat section of this WebEx. Bobby will be more than happy to answer them for you. Bobby, did you have any more that you wanted to show these folks?
So I've got just a couple more minutes, so let me talk a little bit about thresholds. We talked about how TrueSight helps eliminate the noise, and these are just some of the different global thresholds that are available by default with the tool. These are major tools. Within each of these, there's a huge breakdown. Within each of these, there's a further breakdown of the monitor type and what attribute you're actually going to be monitoring. So this is very, very detailed. This comes out of the box and with standard thresholds configured, but you have the ability to go in and modify any of these that you need. You can turn them on and off. You can give them a static threshold, or you can allow them to compare when they're outside the baseline. Now, with the baseline, you've got lots of options, obviously not enabled, but are we going to look at hourly, daily, weekly, or all perspectives, or an automatic perspective where the system just determines when it's out of the ordinary? This is where the system can understand that email spikes on Monday morning, it settles down after lunch, and then it's normal the rest of the week until the following Monday. It knows that September is worse than the other months. You know, whatever's normal, the system understands that and can allow it to respond accordingly. Rich, that really was the last of what I had to show. I don't know if we have any other questions.
Doesn't look like we have any questions today, but I do appreciate your time today. Another great presentation there, Bobby, and I want to thank all those of you that joined us for today's digital transformation and taking time out of your busy days. Until next time, folks, we'll see you next time around. Take a look at our latest webinar schedule. You definitely want to attend next week's webinar as we get into ITSM and ITIL, the beginning of a 6-part series that starts in August. Folks, enjoy the rest of your week and enjoy your weekend. Thank you again.